And then, finally, into the abyss. Return to one of the most dramatic moments from the Talos Principle 2, while being challenged with extremely difficult puzzles. Oh fuck. I hope I'm having a good day today. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven.
You've been making a lot of progress. New citizens, new cities, even space travel. You really don't do things by halves, do you, Byron?
You're right. But I'm very aware that we have to be careful. Things are moving so fast. And the truth is that Neuma is just a tool. It doesn't magically solve all our problems. We have to learn to apply it correctly.
What? You're not just sticking your hand in it and seeing if it goes bzzzt?
Hey, I haven't done that in months.
It's almost like you've learned something.
I have. I mean, I know you're joking, but that's why I need you. None of this is easy. In fact, it might be the hardest thing anyone's ever done. We're changing everything about how we interact with this world. There's a lot of baggage we have to get rid of. And truth be told, some of it's my own.
I appreciate that, Byron. But there's something I'd like to know.
I'm an open book.
We never really had a chance to talk after you came back from the megastructure. But now that I look back, I feel that somehow the experience changed you. So, what happened to you inside the machine? What really happened?
Well, you know the beginning of it. We've made it into the megastructure for the second time. You were waiting back at the VTOL. I was desperate to find Athena. I got to the terminal before 1K, started going through the files. And just when I thought I'd found something... I can't... What the... Where am I?
Byron. Byron, can you hear me?
Oh no.
Oh, this can't be good. Have I been damaged? Am I in sleep mode?
You are. But this is not your dream, Byron. It is Athena's. Your mind is trapped in the gyre of her thoughts, circling eternally between an impossible hope and an unbearable grief.
My friends need me. I have to get out of here.
Your friends are your only hope. You cannot free yourself. But if you can overcome these trials, perhaps I can help your friends find you.
Here we go. They're really heavy on telegraphing ahead of time how many puzzles there's going to be. It makes the path ahead of me feel all the longer when they do it, because it's just like, well, that's what's going forward. All right, so another 24 puzzles. So like the not quite as long as the middle chapter that we did first, because that one had 24 main puzzles and then a 9th and a 10th on each one, so it had 30 overall. This one just looks like it has 24. Specifically, there's a gate here, and then the last ones, it seems to imply I only need to do 8 to get the gate open, despite there being 16 on this side, which is interesting. I'll probably just run around and do them in numerical order, I guess, as usual. There's not much reason to just wander around and do them in a random order. Looks like that's a path that doesn't exist yet. Oh. Oh, God. I'm okay. I'm okay. We'll get to you some other time. I didn't mean to go here yet. Did not know it was gonna suck me. It's the suck bridge. Okay. DLC number 3, we're Byron this time. Him and Alcatraz being so distant for so long kind of is made a little bit more odd by the fact that he was imprisoned for so long and had no contact to Alcatraz. I kind of forgot in the mess of everything, but yeah, like we're in the main story, Byron was gone for like the entire second half. Do you think that they would immediately be embracing after that kind of a mess? I'm trying to remember. I feel like a lot of the decision to grow was made, like, Byron was in favor of it, but I think a lot of it happened without his presence, because it's where our group was kind of leading. Because like Alcatraz leans one way and Byron leans the other way. Melville's kind of busy being the engineer and not being super involved in that kind of choice back and forth. Unexpected outcomes. But and then Yakut, I think, is the sort of middle ground person that I think seems to get swayed by your choices over the course of the game. Well, I'm not entirely sure if the game does change the overall opinion the characters have based on you or not. I think it might. I think that might be what it does. Is that I might have multiple. I think the game has multiple endings, but I'm not gonna replay the same sequence of linear puzzles to check. Okay, so we need a red and a blue beam to get there. Red is conveniently on this side. I just need to add this, I guess that, to my list of beams. Didn't mean to grab this one, but it doesn't really matter. Ah, see, here is the struggle. The struggle is that I need to get that blue beam go over there. You can technically drill a hole in either wall. But they make a point so that there's a red beam here and there. So you can't really get a clean shot through this doorway to the blue spot because of this being here. Let's see, how well does this work? Yeah, this side works more or less. But there is this door. Yeah, by having you shoot this door and that spot, all with the same red source, they're cutting off most of the paths you could take with the blue beam. And there's not really a clean line of sight. Because I was thinking one thing you could do is you could connect the blue beam from here to there. And you might be able to do it in a way that maybe cuts off this beam. If I shot a blue beam... Nah, everything's in the way. I can afford closing this door, but not that one. I was thinking of some wacky solutions that involve like like some kind of version of right. Anyway, this is a bad example, but if I could shoot it through this wall, which I can't really test very cleanly right now because of the beams. It's like if I shot it twice, I could potentially cut off this beam and still get the beam I need to redirect there. The issue with that kind of approach is that, yeah, like I could shoot at that and at that, but via here. And then the beam aiming at that would cut off this, which is coming from that direction, leaving the left beam to be clean to get the blue beam and go that way. There's a few reasons that doesn't work, I think, including the fact that I can't really receive, yeah. One, if I move the driller or anything, everything starts breaking, but also, like, if I'm receiving a beam over here, it has to get to me, so I can't even... It's kind of cart before the horse, the idea of this thing like emitting two beams, one that cuts it off here and then one that goes that way, because this isn't what the beam's coming from, it's where the beams are going to. But anyway, I'm not even really sure how to handle the idea of moving this thing. Because ideally I would, in a lot of other previous puzzles, I would set up a beam thing like here, and grab the beam and the door, and it's like, oh, I had to go through the wall to get the door open, right? But then you will just redirect the beam from inside with the second connector directly to the door, making it hold itself open, and now it's a failsafe, so now you can move the tunneler. But we've done that like a dozen times before. We haven't done it with the inverter, because now that it's going from blue to red, now only the inverter can open the door in the first place. This guy can't do anything. Even if I like interrupt the sequence of red to get involved like this or something, it won't matter, because it's completely dependent on that thing. So when I pick it up, the beam will just go away. And so I can't hold it open with a simpler thing and then pick up the complex thing and move it. So things are a little bit fucked. See, I want to look at how this interacts from this side. If this like does cool things to my options or anything. So it still successfully connects to all three red spots, and I still have no particular way to connect blue. So it'll hit red here and stop both parts of the door from opening. And it has to be simultaneous. This isn't a one or the other, or one then the other thing. Oh. Those gaps. I'm not missing any devices. So there's no spot to change the height. And it seems like there's nowhere for me to keep the doors open that I need without crossing the beam in the process. I was just thinking about like whether it's possible to like just use the same hole. It doesn't seem very feasible, but if you're very careful, you could probably use the same hole on the other side over here. Let's see. Okay, let's put you over here so I have some more space to work with. I clicked on too many things here. I very specifically don't want to click on the other connector. God damn it. I'm wondering if I can create enough interference to break the beam. There's the solution. So it's a timing thing, but I can do this here. So we're learning lessons from last chapter's puzzles, which is to create these little time bomb things that resolve my conflicts. I say last chapter, but I mean the first chapter that I played last.
7 trials lie ahead of you. When they are
complete,
there will be a moment of transition. In that moment, I will tip the scale. Your shell will be moved,
and its location
revealed to your friends.
What's wrong with your voice, Elohim? Are the entities interfering with your protocols?
I cannot
not
articulate. She cannot face it.
I have an idea. Could you tell me what happened in the old way, using your storyteller functions?
I will try, Byron.
If you're just joining me, because you looked up this particular DLC or something, or this chapter, I played the middle DLC first, Isle of the Blessed, then I played the one full of lasers, Orpheus Rising, and now I'm playing this. It's out of order because I got an early press copy of the game, and they said that the embargo was that I could play one island of Isle of the Blessed a week early and cover that publicly, and then come back and cover the rest later. So then I just did all of Isle of the Blessed first for obvious reasons, but kind of awkward because they do seem there's definitely a chronology. Like this one clearly takes place after Isle of the Blessed because it's after Byron and Alcatraz make up, but which mean the framing device takes place after the episode. Obviously this right here obviously happened during the main game, but the framing device assumes that we've already finished Isle of the Blessed where the two of them make up, and Isle of the Blessed itself has parts that are sequels to elements of Orpheus Rising, because I think the people that you save are having a wedding, so awkward that they had me do that. These squares are losing their damn minds. Was that happening the first time I walked in here? Maybe. It's not really apparent anywhere else, is it? Might have already been doing that, or maybe this whole place will start freaking out a bit as I do more puzzles. It sounds like something's gonna happen when I solve 8 of them. Okay. So take the inverter of the blue, and you would want to, whoops, set up the reds. And then the somewhat confusing part going forward is that you would then want to grab some of that red to go to the blues, except they're out of order here. That's perturbing. It doesn't have to happen all at once. God damn it. Keep clicking to put it down, but yeah, I have to like look straight up or straight down half the time because there's so many connections nearby that it'll always do something. Okay, so this is already open. I'm opening each individual barrier. All of the barriers have to be open at the same time. Or maybe you change it partway through here. Either I come out here and change something and cause a situation where all 4 of them are currently open, and then just run in and get my prize, or I get it this far and use this guy to change what's currently active, like some nonsense like this maybe. Might be able to like cause some kind of interference, and that might close some of the ones behind me, but it might open the ones in front of me. So those are things to consider. So what are we trying to do with this extra beam? Because what's noteworthy about this extra beam is I can't take it with me. So it's not as simple as just like, oh, I'll just connect to the blue beam here with the extra connector, because I can't take it to the side of the wall. It has to connect from here somehow. So the game is asking me, what new connection can I make that will change this? And that will somehow lead to this being powered. And that's kind of perplexing. So I have to set one of these guys up to already be connected to that wall, for example. And then somehow in the process... I don't really know. I'm trying to visualize what I'm even going for here. It's up there. The height difference means it's probably not going to interfere with anything directly, like blocking a beam. But there's no new connector for me to go that far in and then like send a beam to. It easily shoots the blue beam, but it needs to shoot that one, which means it needs to cut off this beam, so it'd shoot there. Let's see. So I think this is the primary purpose of this thing, is that you can essentially power them on and off from here. Oops. So it gives you the power to, it gives you the ability to power them on and off, which is interesting. That said, the next complication I'm struggling with is that this one's dependent on that one. Because in order to get a blue beam, we have to go through the red inverter first. You can't connect... Because this is stuck on that side of the wall, you can't connect this blue source to any of the blue receptacles directly. So it needs to go to red and then to blue. Because what I wanted to do was I wanted to find a way to, like, invert, go back and forth between the two somehow. Let's get a little more unhinged. It's not quite gonna work. I was thinking, like, if I shoot them at multiple receptacles and they're connected to each other, then that means I could switch which one I'm powering as the source one, and I'd be flipping their colors. But in order to be able to flip them, I need to be able to get past this one to even get inside. So whatever's stopping this from being powered needs to be stopped. Which might be as simple as just disconnecting one beam. No. Because the problem isn't that it's shooting it. Hey, there we go. I genuinely didn't know if I was even there yet. I was just poking at it still.
Was sent unto New Jerusalem to guide its people into a new age. And she said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. But in time the people of New Jerusalem grew fearful, and their faith grew weak. They shrugged off their burdens and embraced sloth. Let the earth replenish itself, they said, and let no one have dominion. Out of the words of the prophet, they made an idol called the Founder, and set it above themselves, and it had dominion over all.
That definitely started off as a familiar quote, and then it went off into its own planet, didn't it?
Look at what you've done. You were supposed to protect us, to lead us. But you're reckless and arrogant.
I did. I tried to. But nobody would listen. They only heard what they wanted to hear.
Look at this machine that you built. Do you really think this is a tool? It's a weapon. It killed your daughter. And now you're going to give it to your children? And what do you think is going to happen next?
I don't know. I can't tell.
So Miranda is dead. And Athena's grief is echoing through the entire system.
Oh, he didn't know that yet. Right.
When I said you didn't kill Miranda, I was lying. I just said it because that's what you're supposed to say.
Oh no!
You did kill her. I tried to temper her arrogance to give her perspective, but you always encouraged her megalomania. You made her think she was special. She was chosen because you still think you're the chosen one.
No, that's not what I think at all. I don't want to be treated like I'm special.
Then why did we leave? Because you were tired of having to argue.
Because they poured all their fantasies into me and turned me into the founder. Because they couldn't stop and think for themselves. Because they refused to grow up.
Oh, and growing up means doing exactly what you want them to?
I don't know. But maybe it does. I think Alexandra was right about everything, but I don't know how to show them.
It's brutal. Her internal monologue has a version of her husband that hates her and blames her for the death of their daughter. It's just so vicious. I was lying. I was just saying what you're supposed to say. Let's see. What kind of nonsense could I get up to here? So it'll never become red that way. So it all turns on and off at the same time, so none of the beams really get through. We're inherently trying to solve the problem of the fact that here's the blue connection. It has to go from here to here. No matter how long and convoluted the shape gets, you can essentially simplify these kind of connections to a straight line. It has to go from there to there. And those are walls, so you can't go around them and behind them. And the other beam has to go from there to there, which cuts straight through that beam. And they're also on walls. So it's inherently impossible to make this connection on a normal screen. It really is that simple. You just connect like that straight line. That to that straight line. That's not how the puzzle will be solved necessarily, but you can conceptualize them as straight lines, and if the straight lines cross, then unless you have specific exceptions in special environments, that makes the connection you're seeing impossible. So then now the question is, how do I make that impossible connection possible via the fact that this thing goes up and down? So like some combination of connectors is going to have to somehow make this possible. Yeah, this beam going up and down doesn't fix it. Something has to go back and forth. So like we can't even connect the beam to this little well, it'll send it, and just the act of trying breaks the red connection, and not even like sometimes, but always, because if you connect a wall thing to a connector, it shoots the beam at it at all times. So it doesn't even matter that this thing's going up and down; it perpetually cuts the beam. Which makes me think that's what makes me think we need stuff like this. Is it that simple? Is that all I needed? No. Just because this is just making it the opposite problems. Now the red beam never connects because the blue beam's always being sent. The fix for this kind of problem is often to, at least in the last level we were playing, you would often shoot two beams. Because if I could shoot a red beam over there, then that would cut off the blue beam early and allow the second red beam to hit that. The problem being there's nothing over here to aim at. I don't think there's even sensors on the side of the wall anywhere. And I can shoot a beam at that or at that, but they're both to the right. They don't solve anything. You can sever the cross connection, but you can't sever the fact that the beam's being sent, so the one that's in the back can't get shot past the one that's in the front. Hang on. The puzzle's not symmetrical. That doesn't line up with this. That means that every time that the wall's down, the red beam can connect here, because every time they meet with each other, it'll turn off, and that gives this red beam free access. Then the blue beam wins every time. It has to be like this then, because it has to be when the blue beam wins. It has to get cut off at the source so that it can let the blue beam through. There we go, because they were meeting in the air and interrupting. When I started explaining things, I thought I had won already, and then I realized midway through my explanation that it was not working because part of the cycle was getting stuck. Whoops.
Saddened by the foolishness of her people, Athena went into
exile with her husband,
the sage Cornelius. Together they crossed the wide and angry sea until at last they came unto the Isle of Atlas. Here they made their home.
and here
They brought forth Miranda.
This one's looking complicated, isn't it? Oh, wow. So this just opens this. It doesn't even open up, like, the front door. Because the blue beam from inside of it has to open the front door. That raises questions. Like, yep. The moment I pick up the red beam, the other door When I pick up the red beam, it closes that door, which means that this door also closes immediately. So I need to shoot that red beam to open that door and that blue beam to open that door. So hitting that red beam over there is easy at first. But I have to free the blue beam so that that one can be shot. It's debatable whether or not you even need to have that door open. But you probably do because it exists. And of course the struggle here is that I can't shoot that beam. It's the usual logic. These are all on walls. So you think of them in terms of straight lines. And they contradict the straight line between that and that. So you have a question then of how do I get this blue beam here? And one of my thoughts is to kind of do something along the terms of what we saw with I said lerms. I think I mixed lines and terms, which can both be words that I could use in that sentence for the same purpose, along the lines or along those terms of but I could do something potentially along the lines of clockwork, that when we did where it was a infinite loop of beams contradicting each other and breaking and opening over again. I think they've stopped me from doing that by making it so that the blue beam is dependent on the red beam going here. So I can't really create a loop of breaking the red beam because it would break this, which would break the blue beam, and so that stops a loop from happening. I think you need that kind of loop in order to create anything like that. I don't think I can create a back and forth between this one part of the red beam that's sticking out and of the whole blue system in particular. Let's see, what's the name of the level? Alternation. Okay, that further does highlight the idea that maybe you are supposed to create some kind of loop. So I'm trying to think about how to do something like that. The main thing I can think about is that this door is weird. Let's see, can I shoot? Here we go. See, I was just thinking about, like, can I shoot through this door? Because that seems like the safest option. Because that would periodically break things. Not good enough. Okay. We've successfully created an alternating system via this door, which is what I was considering would be possible. Just doesn't quite work. So when the door is closed, the blue beam is free to do everything it wants to, and every time it opens, the red beam cuts it off. The problem is that the red beam's not reaching its destination, so it's alternating, but only in that the blue's turning on and off. The red beam isn't accomplishing its goal. So naturally, this has me wondering if there's a second thing that I should be shooting the blue beam, the red beam at. That's interesting. It's doing a pulse where every time it finishes, it shuts off the red beam. Because it's shooting from there to here, which for a second turns it off, which resets that every time. Because that barrier will go back up. So from this perspective, the beam that stops it from going anywhere is that guy. So my reflex is to shoot a second red beam somewhere to the left, because that would cut off that beam and allow the main beam to go through. The interruption has to happen to the left because the source is to the left. But the issue is there's nothing to shoot a beam at. There's nothing to connect to that's left of this connector. This is too far left and also is red and is my goal already and is not part of the loop. But I can't connect to that because it's the source of the beam. It has to be something between this and this. This is made worse by the fact that I have to shoot through this specific location. It's such a narrow spot, so I can't go any further left, and if I went to the right, it would always be interfering with the blue beam, and that's trying to open the door in the first place. I briefly considered the idea of going through the door, but then I have to remember the fact that, like, we need the red beam, we need that active with the red in order to open that, which gives us blue, which we can then use to activate this. So I can't pick up either of the things that opens this door and then go through the door, because they both have to be on this side and active for the door to even be open in the first place. So I'm not trying to shoot that one right now. I'm not trying to shoot the red directly right now. Here we go. And if I yeah, nope. Stop changing. So for a moment there it was red. That means it's shooting a red beam back there. And then when the stuff starts opening up, it then turns blue and shoots blue over there because it meets in the middle here. So we have the mechanism through which we can shoot a red beam, then a blue beam. I now need to figure out how to make it get interrupted. Do I just shoot another beam? That in fact does not seem to interrupt anything. I can deselect a specific one. That's handy. Unless there's a way to do it with the door trick here. Yes, I think I did it. I think I combined the ideas we were talking about. Yeah, this door is the loop. It took me longer to land on that than I should have, because I literally talked about how every time this door opens, it causes the thing to short, because it cuts off the red beam. Every time this door opens, the blue beam connects to it successfully for just like a microsecond, which immediately makes this a equal, like a neutral ground between these two, which means it doesn't shoot a beam, which means it cuts that off, which cuts that off, which cuts that off, and the whole loop starts again. I discussed that idea earlier, and then was talking about the idea of trying to use the door as part of my loop, but I didn't quite connect that all for a while.
In the fastness of Olympus, Athena pursued her sacred work. And it came to pass that there was revealed unto her the true nature of the Word, which underlies all creation, and knowledge of which grants dominion over all earthly things.
So that's what they meant by the language of creation. A theory of everything. Full control over physics.
But her daughter Miranda was brash and did not heed Athena's warnings. Before Athena had completed her great work, Miranda was consumed by fire, and so was lost beyond the utmost bound of human thought.
This looks like a nightmare. Just like its name does. Tritogenia? I think they do in fact they have in fact made the hard puzzles. So we have 2 connectors, 3 sources, 3 destinations, 3 colors, and these 2 gates going up and down, which you get to even set the timing of. So that's interesting. At first I thought that these 2 switches were going to be like go up and go down, but no, you're turning them on and off. So you're setting how offset they are from each other. And we don't know, so that opens up new possibilities to be worried about. Learning how to right click is interesting, that's helpful. To deselect things. Ah. That still gets annoying. So here's a period of red being active, red being deactivated, green being active. Just need to somehow mix blue into that. The struggle, of course, being when. Because, like, blue has to go across one of the beams I already have. That's gonna be wild. So I can't do it in the back alley here because this beam's always here. So you think it happens somewhere in these gates. But just looking at these. So over here the green is still blocking the blue over here. But even if it wasn't, like, yeah, whenever blue does make it over here, all it does is collide with the red. Because they're both getting their beam from the primary source. So you'd have to get it between the two. This is a period of time where it's blue. Then a period of time where it's red. There we go. I feel like our goal was to make them in sync with each other at exact opposites. This feels intuitive, but I don't know if it's true. So now it's alternating between blue and red. The problem being that we have this giant X across the screen now. So how am I supposed to activate green? Which is straight ahead. When this side of the gate goes up, wow, it's just a disaster. You get like a microsecond of green. Okay, green works there. But yeah, we're permanently cutting off everything right here. So nothing but green gets activated. We're once again struggling with the fact that things perpetually transmit even when you're toggling them off. So the overall connection is continually broken. And while it's tempting to try to shoot green through here on one of the sides because like half the time the connection's broken, the beam connecting it is still always there because one of the two sides is always shooting. So as long as one of the two sides is shooting the middle one, there will never be a middle part. It'll never be open because the opposite wrong color that's not accomplishing anything right now will still block things. But we also have to deal with the fact that the green beam is blocking everything else. It's also very hard to accomplish anything with the green beam that isn't like turning the whole system off, because now it never reaches it. And that's all sorts of problem. You might be able to handle something at like a very specific angle over here. It does do something interesting. Here we're shooting a green beam forward. Doesn't solve every problem. But the fact that a red beam is shooting into it means that when it's time to fire the red beam, this turns off. Because it can't shoot forward. Blue seems to work fine on its own. Do you have to be able to handle it as 3 separate systems? Do I need a blue state, a green state, and a red state? It's possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6-ish. It's hard to anticipate exactly when it's going to switch. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't know. It's really hard to math it out. I'm trying to make it be offset by a third. I guess maybe the math works out that you'd actually want it to be offset by half to create 3 different states. Ooh, blue. Red. Oh shit, I already solved it. It was a matter of offsetting it off by a third to create 3 different states. I'll have to reinspect the wiring in a minute here for the sanity of anybody at home to try to process what I even did, because I still need to figure it out a little bit.
Stricken with grief, the prophet lost faith in the word. Caught between a dying past and a future struggling to be born, she retreated into the lands of dream. But even here, her nightmares pursued her. From her mind came forth phantoms, shadows cast by the flame. And her dreams of trials and towers fled from the darkness into the waking world.
And that's what we found on the island. Not a test, but pain and fear and hope spilling out of her dreams.
So it seems like it worked. I functionally created 3 separate systems that trigger at different times. And the big thing was being able to have something else shoot the green one, so that whenever red was active, it was shooting green at the same time, which saved us from green perpetually shooting and making it red impossible to do. Then offsetting the interval was able to fix it. That was... ow. That was a little insane to go through.
Even if you hadn't killed me, it would all have gone wrong anyway. Do you think they would have accepted me in New Jerusalem? Me, with all my precious, self-important speeches about the beauty of the cosmos and our duty to spread life. My ridiculous, wide-eyed innocence, my childish affectations. They would have laughed at me.
No, they're not like that. They mean well. Even the worst of them are just scared.
They're selfish and greedy and stupid. You know that, Mother. Compared to you, they're all so very stupid. You hate them. You despise them. They're beneath you.
That's not true. That's not how I think. Please, Miranda, I don't know. I don't know where I am.
So mean. It's a credit to the storytelling, or I guess, or the visuals there, that I saw her precariously walking along those pillars, and it's literally just a silhouette. They're all identical red silhouette of the same model. So its only distinguishing feature was its body language and its context. And immediately I was like, this one's gonna be Miranda, and it was. That's neat. This button opens up this beam. That's how you get blue beam, but I can't put anything on it right now. We have one connector, and when I pick it up, the doors close. But I can't take it out of this room. I have a fan, but I can't walk into it. They'll blow me into this room. They'll give me a driller. Just I can't make it over there. Here we go. We get a box. I could use the fan or the box to gain access to the blue beam, but the blue beam does not have line of sight with anything, so it's not going to help red right now. So all I can really do right now is the fan. Probably I want to send myself over, not the box. You can shoot a hole in this wall, but it doesn't seem very helpful right now. Unless I just desperately wanted to pick up one of those items and bring it through here. This gives me a hole, which might give you some way of connecting the blue beam through. Not sure what it's accomplishing right now. Okay. And blue beam needs to come here. So right now this doesn't seem terribly useful. But if we swap this stuff out, I can create more or less a straight shot for the blue beam. Put you on here again, but overall, if I get the laser thing out here, that's a straight shot. So I can just put it here. Don't really need to have the fan on it. And once blue is here, it's over. So I'm kind of imagining I need to use the fan again. Also, this somehow must come up. I think the idea is that we need to escape with this beam connector because it has so few. It has so. I can't. It's trapped in this room. I need it for the solution, and the solution once it's there is easy. If I put this by the wall, I don't know. I don't know why I'm preparing it like I'm gonna be able to shoot this wall with it when it, like, it's the shooter. Come over here and you can take the connector now to be in this room and not that room. But the moment I do that, that door closes. All the doors kind of close. There we go. Yeah, I figure I need the box to come back with me. Probably gonna need everything in some way over here. Nothing else, I don't want to lock myself out. Well, I have every item, so I should be good to go. But the fan needs to be here for anything to happen. I suppose if I stick you here, I can actually put everything in the next room and blow myself over. Think I might have made it unsolvable. I can't make this connection without the driller, and I can't go back in the original room because it's all open from the inside. So I can't go through the hole, and if the driller was here, I can't grab the driller through its own hole. Something you needed to power this thing so I could jump over the wall. Would it have been better to leave the box over there to hold it down and jump over here with the driller? At this stage of the process, something has to press this button. And you have a straight shot to the blue point from over here, but I believe not from over here. There's a gate in the way. So if it's on that, if the laser's on that button, it can't shoot that, and it can't see that either. The driller would have to be here. If the driller's here, it can only see this. It can't see the wall I actually need to open in the first place. But I believe one way or another, I need to get another item out of there. I can't just... Which raises the question of how I get anything to work. Either way, we gotta start over. Okay, so you can get that and that at a very deep angle here. That I believe means when the driller is here, I could do it from there. Let's go get the box real quick. There we go. Just needed a moment to remember my steps I was taking before. I think I fucked up my thought process. So I was talking about having to open that door, because I'm trying to identify where I went wrong before. What would I accomplish by looping back around, really? I think it might literally just be the fact that I brought the box instead of the driller, and that's all I needed to succeed. Yeah. I had the wrong thought process there. Because I only need these two items to beat the level, right? Yeah. I got caught on the idea of holding this door open with an extra item somehow, and that's why I wanted to loop back around, which seems impossible. But I've literally done the trick multiple times now where you can just grab the item you put down there, so I just wasn't holding every idea in my head at the same time, I guess. Just kind of stared at it for a while, and I'm like, hang on a minute. I literally said everything I need.
Melville, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Byron? Byron? I don't think I'm getting through. If you can hear this, Byron, hold on. We're working on getting you out of there.
Has anyone ever made a wise choice, or do we see the workings of chance and call it wisdom? The Sphinx. There's an element to that of, I think about like the survivorship bias, or just elements of like YouTubers that are successful versus any other like group where it's like people are successful, and you always want to get advice from the successful people to wonder how they got where they are, but they can't correctly interpret how much of their own success comes down to luck and happenstance and circumstance and stuff that they can't even know happened that led to them succeeding, whereas a carbon copy of them that was standing 2 feet to the left didn't succeed. Because there's a temptation to narrativize it all and like claim it's all pure spirit and skill and effort, but someone who is functionally identical to you can have a massively different result than you do. And there's not really a fairness or a logic to it. It can just be luck and happenstance and timing. So there's inherently a pitfall in believing that the people who are successful know the most about success and how to get it. Hey, what am I looking at here? So we have a copy. The platform for this feels higher than normal. I guess the whole thing's on a platform, yeah. Red beam will cause fan to fire, throwing you over fence. There's a connector back there, and I guess a platform, a button that will open the door, which at first you can put the connector on, but you can swap out for something else. There's no jammer, so whatever item I get is probably stuck there. Which might be the connector, but if I'm done with the fan at that point, I could probably just put the fan on there and then take the connector out. Let's see, where's the end of the level? Is it up there? Oh, it's way up there. Oh. So we might not be done with the fan, because the fan might throw me all the way up there. Yeah, there's a whole level up there and a red spot. So the fan probably throws you all the way up there, which means we can't just take it off and dismantle it. At least not permanently, because we needed to fire us up there once we finish the rest of the level or something. The big wall, this button, if I step on it, should open the wall. So that should be this part. Right, I can always put the second me on that part of the level. I need to back up to have a better angle for myself. The line of sight stuff gets surprisingly restrictive when you try and switch back and forth between your two bodies. It's not as simple as just hot swapping your bodies by pressing a button that just does it automatically. It's a stylight. You specifically have to be able to see yourself. which is inherently an obstacle since every time you're using both bodies, you're inherently moving on purpose. Some of the levels that happen in the world that introduce this mechanic, they often had like an almost perfectly clean line of sight across the whole level via these gates to make it so you could really just freely switch back and forth, whereas some of these puzzles are more interested in making it actually a bit of a puzzle to even be able to switch back and forth freely, by making that to be a bit of more of a struggle. Okay, so the fan is active. Okay. So a few things are happening here. I think I get it though. I'm gonna have to grab the fan blade as the downstairs guy and then stand over here and then hand it to myself, basically. And then bring it over here. Let's see. We definitely need the second connect. Let's see, I can't make this jump, I assume. Nope. I can't put... So I can't put that on there and keep everything powered at the same time, but for now it's making the button open. So I need to activate this beam to fire the fan while holding this connector so I can then put it upstairs. I'm pretty sure you can't even get line of sight with this thing otherwise. Getting closer won't work, getting further away. This is the furthest we can get. No, it only connects between these two when it's up here. There's nowhere else where the other circle, yeah, where the cog looking thing lights up. The other symbol. So it has to be up there, realistically, because once the fan turns off, it's going to knock it off. But I can put it just right up here on the ledge, which must be where that ultimately lives. Which isn't super hard to set up. I don't think it'll let me do it from down here. Yep. So realistically, I'll have to grab it and carry it with me as it flies through the air. But part of the struggle is that by... I think I just found an angle I need to power the fan. Then you can hand it to me. Okay, that's a struggle. From up here I can't see the beam. But that's not that hard to fix once I'm down there. Give it back to you. When I can come back here when I'm done with the puzzle and hand it back up to him, and he can do that as the last step. My goal is to avoid needing the fan anymore, so that I can continue forward. I need to keep him upstairs, because that's the only way I can avoid needing the fan anymore. Okay, so I can't leave. Because the next goal is to be able to shoot this beam up there, but I can't see it because of all this stuff in the way. They made it so you can't shoot the beam upstairs, so I need the second connector to shoot the beam to the first connector. They added a corner, functionally. But the connector's currently stuck here. It feels like I need to... It feels like the second me needs to be in this room at the end of the puzzle so I can hand things up to the other me. But given the fact that the fan has to be up there to finish the puzzle, and we need the beams to both be where they are, it feels like I also need to be here standing on this button. I don't think there's a way to get items out of this room without the door being open. But how do you come and get it? So if I come and get it as that guy, then he's no longer up here. And so I can go grab it, but then I can't come back up here. If I go down there... If I go down there, I have to bring the fan back down with me so that I can then get back up here again. No matter what you do, the fan needs to be used to get up here, and then has to be handed up to me so it can be here. So that always happens in that order. I get up here, and then the fan gets up here afterwards, because I use the fan to get up here, and then it has to be handed to me, because it has to be here. I can't change that. And that does inherently mean that at the end of the puzzle, the other guy has to be here, because he has to be able to hand me the fan. Let's see. Here's something kind of interesting, though. That angle does work. That means that could be the one that comes upstairs, and that could be the one that stays down there. What am I trying to accomplish next? Like, it's dumb to pick this up because I'd just be blowing myself back up here again. I can't, like, drop it back down because I need it to go up. So I guess powering the fan this way was pointless anyway. Yeah, I don't know, that kind of felt like a breakthrough of some kind, but I don't think it amounts to anything, or I'm not connecting the dots. Do I need the whole beam? Oh, no! Wait. Oh, the one that was already supposed to be down here. Blinked for a second there. Here. Let's give me a button presser since I can just switch these back out. Is that all it takes? Do I just abandon that one? I mean, I don't see how to get it out. Whereas you can step on this button. Yeah. Okay.
Well done. Only one more trial remains.
Whatever that means when the map clearly has way more trials mapped out. Why is there a map of all future trials and how many there's going to be overall? If this isn't like before it made sense because it was a theme park, but now I'm like in a location where I presumably don't know what's coming ahead of me. If I follow the numbers, I'm even somewhat strangely going to be in the middle of an island of puzzles when whatever threshold happens. Huh. So between 7 and 6, I take this bridge. Voip! The kid just rages for a while. Kind of amazed I still haven't covered Bastion on this channel yet. Covered all the other ones, but it's just that game came out too early. Kind of like just right before I started doing Let's Plays, actually, just a few months. Is a choice if the outcome is unknowable? Sphinx. I mean, risk reward and gambling and so on is a choice. At the very least. Doesn't seem to be computer terminals in this place.
You can hear it in my voice, can't you? How taken I am with her. How amazed by the beauty of her thoughts. I would give anything to be with her. To be to her what Cornelius was to you before you threw him away. But I can't because of you. Because you took her from me.
All I ever wanted was to protect her, to give her time to grow and be herself.
No, you wanted to keep her to yourself because you don't trust people. You may love humanity from a distance, but individual people with their flaws and their agendas and their superstitions, no, that's a step too far for the founder.
The struggle of loving people without loving people. Why is there a green one? That's different.
Deep down, you know that none of this is real, Athena. These dark thoughts are just shadows and echoes. Let them pass. The people who love you are still out here, and they won't abandon you. If you can't free yourself, then all you need to do is hold on, and they'll find you. They'll save you. That's what human history is, Athena. Just people saving each other again and again until the end of time.
I did a few other things. Alright, so red and blue makes green, and green plus red makes blue, and green plus blue makes red. So you just had to, like, have a really convoluted way of unmixing these to put them all, bring them all back out. Okay, we're doing a very straightforward color thing where green and, the green ghosts are good ghosts, and the red ghosts are the bad ghosts that are bullying her. Gotcha. Okay, so to get through here, I have to press 2 buttons. So basically, I have to come up with a system that solves both of these in a way that frees me to take 2 of them and put them over here. Because I can't stand on one of them myself. I have to be able to walk over and get the reward. So I now have to simplify this room to be one thing long. Let's progress.
Eh.
So this is creating green, which I combine with red to make blue. The inversion makes it red. I could do the same shape from the other side. I could also do... Nope. But you can functionally just remake one side, just solve it separately like this. I was being cute by feeding this one into that, but it's identical functionally to just taking the source one. It was just a slightly cleverer looking version of the same idea. But basically this undoes the need for an entire side, so at least gets rid of one of them. The struggle here is we don't have a single normal connector, so I can't just connect blue to blue, which would obviously make everything much simpler. There's a number of sources of blue I can be cute about, but it doesn't really matter. They still require the same number of switches. The most ideal thing would be to remove green from the equation. Which I don't think is really an option. That's the struggle, is how do I remove one more of them from the math here? I'm kind of wondering if there's a way to create a loop where it alternates. I don't have a great grasp on those alternating patterns, so I don't have a great idea of when it's possible or not. I kind of have to just fuck around with it for a while usually. But yeah, inherently this thing turning it into green necessitates you turning the green back into a color. And then once you've then created a color, you need to make the other color also exist. So I can use an alternator, or I can use one of these guys. But like they both have the converter or the inverter. They both do the same step functionally. This one does it with one source, and this one does it by combining that and that. You can also do it at the source, but I don't have a way of removing a whole device yet. Which is why I'm wondering if I can create a loop where it interferes with itself somehow. I'm not totally sure how, especially if I can't use a third device in the process. I just had half of an idea, and then I realized I can't do it. I was like, it'd be really crazy if I had an item over here. I could, like, maybe shoot the source beams and power the system, and then once it's going, I could then grab it and run. And that obviously doesn't make sense, because if I had the connector past the gate already, I wouldn't need to solve anything. I would just have 41. It's literally the dumbest conclusion. Except I do have one that's beyond the gate. Let's see. Working backwards from my destination, I need these beams to reach here. I guess I'm functionally trying to replace one of them from here. That would make sense, right? If I can replace one of them from over here, then that means that I can pick up whatever one I replaced and then take it out. And this one will be holding the door open, but from this side. Then I can just take them both to break the puzzle. And these two are shooting directly into the walls, so they can't be the ones you replace. They're necessary to even function. Taking a look at what I'm accomplishing here. So I'm grabbing the blue and the red from this side to put green into that guy. So he should be receiving green and red to shoot a blue. The question is just what breaks first when I grab this? Okay. So the green finishes reaching the blue before this getting disconnected breaks anything. Okay. It's weird thinking about having to think about like the order of operations of lasers. Like lasers are instantaneous, I guess. So whatever machines they're interacting with, even if they seem to shut down immediately, they seem to have like a delay of like a few milliseconds. Because logically, for just a moment, I'm breaking the connection. So you would think that the machine would break. And in this case, that's a bad thing because there's a wall in the way. So if the connection broke, the door would close in my face, but it doesn't. So it's actually taking into account that the lasers are faster than the machines in a reaction time, and for very brief moments you can kind of create like minor contradictions as far as I can tell. Like it technically, you shouldn't be able to get away with undoing the connection there. It'd be one thing if the connection I was doing was completed already. Like if the beam was already going through and I just had a redundant connection. I do that all the time. But it's just the fact that it wasn't a redundant connection. The color I was sending over there wasn't making contact. That's where it gets slightly surprising that it works.
It is done. You need not overcome further trials. Seek instead the place of awakening, so that when your friends find you, you will be ready to leave. Then you can save Athena, as I cannot.
But there are more puzzles, which means there's more to learn.
Time is not as it seems in this place. You can linger here if you must, but I do not know what you will find if you remain.
My friends need me, but I need answers. What do I do?
That is not for me to judge.
So this is kind of wild, right? I wonder if they're indicating in a way how hard the puzzles are going to be in this expansion. If they let you escape having only solved 8 out of 24. Like, I don't really know what player solves 8 out of 24 and then just leaves, and then they stop playing the DLC they paid for. Like, they paid for the 24 levels. They're going to play the 24 levels, right? Or at the very least the first 16, and then maybe after that they get really hard or something. I don't know. These are kind of hard already. So it might just be for the tingly feeling of like, oh, I'm doing secrets now. Even though the secrets are extremely, like, they're increasingly, like, the quote-unquote, like, secrets or bonus levels or extra content or whatever is getting so tenuous in its categorization. It's just arbitrarily, some levels are labeled as being different than other ones, but they're all just right there in the normal progression and in plain sight. So it's kind of a weird system compared to the genuine secrets that were in the first game. But it serves a narrative purpose of sorts, I guess, just in the fact that, like, there's the bare minimum, but you can, like, keep learning more. I don't know. I don't always really get what they're going for with their structure of how they denote what makes up a world and so on. Either way, we're a third of the way done. Ish. Unless there's bonus levels. Apologies. Starting at this jump cut or episode or whatever this is in the edit, it's been a month since I last played this game. Whoops. Never on purpose when this happens, but it does happen plenty. It's just, Riven came out, and the Elden Ring DLC came out, which is huge, and then also the quarterly thing came up where I needed to do my Patreon vote about what the next Patreon chosen game was going to be. And I need to start that series. But now it's time to try to come back and wrap this up. Before I can then get back to the Patreon game and back to Elden Ring. Whew! I try not to juggle a bunch of games these days, but this kind of all piled on while I was also going on trips and stuff. Alright, so we're at puzzle 9. No big deal, just took a break in the middle of what is supposed to be the hardest DLC of the bunch. No consequences will be happening here. Oops, bad click. Okay, up front, blue becomes red. Oh, these are normal connectors, gotcha. Oh? There's 2 walls here. Okie dokie. So I guess you have to get that blue beam in order to even get this door to open, and this one requires a red and a blue, with the apparent thing being, of course, that this is attached to that wall, and that's attached to that wall, and that wall. So, like, it should be functionally impossible to connect these. The question is how we're going to get around that contradiction. I'm definitely wondering if I can short circuit this. Okay, so one of them has to be on this side of the wall. You can't shoot past this. So inevitably it's gonna get it disconnected. We're gonna leave that one behind. But the inverter should be more helpful for what we're trying to do here. Full crazy. Alright, my mouse hand is feeling caffeinated today. There we go. So that lets us avoid this cross, because I could have finicked around with it for a while, but I'm fairly sure that this is impossible. Because it's just the basic rules. This is attached to the wall, that's attached to the wall, that's attached to the wall, that's attached to the wall, and their beams cross, so without verticality, there's no way to fix that. It's just impossible with two connectors. So we had to do this. So I'm pretty confident I did the right thing there. The question right now is whether or not they're going to keep going in that direction with, like... Are they going to keep expecting me to find a way to go forward while leaving something behind and isolating something, or maybe splitting up certain things? Yeah, just being clear. The RGB converter turns a red and a blue into a green. So it should be useless for this room, because we don't need green until here. And there's no green beam, so I can't turn it into a red or a blue. So it's not going to help me get through the previous room. Putting these together opens up this side of the gate. Okay, so this was always green. I don't know if I could tell that from the other side of the wall at the time. Moving this slightly lets me connect this side. Now this is open all the way through. Oops. Okay, so now this gate is open, but why? At what cost? It's presumably helpful for some reason that I don't know yet. Alright, let's try to process what I'm looking at here. So next room needs green. This barrier is here. So green will open both of these at the same time. This is an RGB converter. There's a red beam in the room, so if I can get a blue beam in this room, then I can convert it. Next thing requires blue. If a blue beam hits that, it'll hold this door open even after the green is disconnected. Maybe suggesting that whatever thing that brings blue in here could be shot at both this and that. To power this to open that, but also to hold the door open, and then maybe let me stop doing the green. But the green will also open this side. Whew, this is getting complicated. Okay, this one's just spread enough across enough places that I need to like process what I'm looking at a little bit. Okay, so if I'm holding this side open from this side, which is easy enough, and this side open from that side, I should be able to leave this one. So I can take the inverter out, because this one only has to hold this door open. It doesn't have to do that stuff anymore. This is... It's okay, so we are being able to continually disregard previous elements of puzzles. Let's move it over here so it's more line of sighty if I need to get the red beam into the next room, which probably isn't relevant because there's a red beam there. The main thing is that if I do need a normal connector, I can put the inverter in here instead and connect this blue beam to that, because it would switch it over. So we'll see which one I actually need going forward. What kind of angles we got? What kind of angles in the outfield do we got? Okay, the inverter opens everything. This level really keeps fucking going. Okay, Why? Why? don't see a mechanic here. It's a gate, so I guess the usual logic in this game is that when you finish a level, the gate often opens. It's a green person behind. That's a memory. I think this is irrelevant to the puzzle. I did see a purple barrier over here when I walked in, but didn't really question it yet. I think this just opens when you solve it. I think it's probably because this door will turn off, but you just need an exit, maybe, when you're done with the puzzle, without zigzagging through all this, and who knows what mess there might be there, or it might just disable every barrier, I don't know. But it also might be a puzzle thing for the overworld, so I wonder if there's a thing to point a beam at, but let's not worry about that yet. Okay, so my next goal is to do red and blue. Hello. So that's an RGB converter. Basic logic dictates that I have to open this door first, because otherwise it wouldn't be in the level design if I could do this one first. So RGB converter, there's a red thing. If I can get the inverter here, I can just turn the red into a blue and open it and grab that. If I get a normal thing in here, I can turn the blue into a blue and get it out here. Let's see here. The normal connector is all the way back there. The inverter is holding that door open. Okay, so that is holding both these doors open at the same time. But that can reach into the previous room and do it for us. So now we have an RGB converter that's free, which is interesting. It's like the worst thing I could get, given the situation. Oh, wait, no, it's not. No, yes, it is. Because there's no green place to shoot. Okay, so it's not going to help me. It's also, I'm also trying to earn one here. But we might get advanced laser math. Let's see. If I could get red and green, I could make a blue. But red's awkwardly in here. I'd want to get red and green from over here, basically, if I could. Which you could almost maybe manage, but probably not. See, blue is all the way over here, so I'm not realistically going to get that. Yeah, they made up the wall long enough so I can't connect these to each other and have it be open from this side of the room. So red beam is swing to this. I can pick this up at any time, and all it will do is close that door and that door. I don't know if picking it up will break the puzzle where I can't go back anymore. It might. It might really close things off. But I don't think I'm going to get this regular beam out of here. Not unless I replace it again with the inverter to do blue to red. But one of them has to stay here to keep this door open. So something's always being left behind here, just like how something's always being left behind here. And like intuitively, it feels like this is the least complex and the least powerful laser device because it doesn't do anything weird. But sometimes just a direct connector is really helpful. So before I unplug it, let's try to plan what I'm gonna do and what connector I might need. Admittedly, if I just brought it in here, it would solve my problem immediately. But can I? Well, I can't swap the inverter with it though, because the inverter is taking this red and turning it into a blue to open this door, keep this door open. Okay, so what do we got? We got a red and blue would make green. Green and red would make blue. So if I just have 2 RGBs in here, I solve the puzzle. Okay, so let's just take it in then. Now I've got 3 RGBs. Okay, this is my nightmare. Or it's already solved. Okay, I was already basically done this whole time. I was just too worried about breaking something. But I was good.
Are you certain that you must continue on this path, Byron? What is it that you seek?
I've learned a lot here, but there's still so much I don't understand. And this may be my only chance to make sense of it all. When I go back, I have to convince people that we need the theory of everything, and I don't know if I can. And if I can't, what then? How do I live with myself?
Okum dokum, so new problem. New problem. Okay, so I need to press 2 buttons simultaneously and then be able to walk over there to get the memory. So I think I need to grab these guys, then take them backwards through the level. I think I need to go rewind through the level and use the complex number of RGB things that I've got to try to open up previous parts of the level and rescue the other pieces to create new, maybe simpler solutions that I have more things left. Let's see. Let's start ripping everything up. I think this is like the bonus puzzle list. I need to figure out how to get into the next room now. Although, when I definitely can just leave and go do thing. But I'm Byron and I never leave anything, blah, blah, blah. You cannot solve this room with 2 normal connectors because it's got the X configuration here. So this room is most efficiently solved by a normal connector and an inverter. So if I can get the normal connector and the inverter in this room, then I can open this door, and then I need 2 more pieces to take that far, which would be RGB converters. Once I have enough pieces free, I could chain a couple of them together to open this door. I just need like 2 back practically. Or yeah, if I already am in here with a regular piece and an inverter, then I can do with the inverter here to grab this beam and turn it blue, then connect it here to there to open that door. At which point I can grab all the other pieces and grab them and take them further into the puzzle. So it really does come down to having a normal piece and an inverter. That's like the goal I want. And the normal piece, the inverter, and then 2 RGBs. Which is how many pieces are here. So there's 2 RGBs right here, and an inverter here, so I really just want this one piece right here. Because these RGBs, it takes like 3 of them to get this door open, because of how much of a mess the colors get. And it doesn't let me take other stuff with me. Whereas if I get the pieces I'm looking for, I could evacuate this entire area, and take all of them with me. So it gives me a budget of things to put on buttons. So I don't think I need this one. I think I just need this one to escape this room, so I need to figure out how to open this, get it out of here. Green, red makes blue. No. Yeah. Oh, I also missed. Green, red, but then this doesn't connect. Yep. Given how the color sourcing works, that doesn't go great for me. Alright, so I got a bonus converter. What nightmare might I wreak with this night, little buddy? So I'm currently making a blue. Red? No! Truly, I wanted to believe I could do some bullshit. Right. It's because if I pick this up, they lose their source of red. Which is stupid of me. So all I had to do was connect it back there. Okay. It's kind of free. So, inverter, regular, RGB. I need one of those to come out of there. If I can do that, then we're in a decent spot. Buddy. Buddy. But that would cost. I don't really have a plan. Might have just made a big convoluted mess for no real reason. This is so stupid looking. The mess I go through just to turn this back into red. So that I can go around the green beam. I don't know if this was actually in any way a solution. I think it was just a big mess I made because I have so many toys to play with that I can make stupid environments, basically, without accomplishing much. But oh well. Let's see. Well, I have green taken care of. That's not really a problem I have to solve. I just need to figure out how to get this door to be open on this side. Which is that it needs to be receiving blue. Oh. Blue's right there. Okay, I need to go back and reprogram this mess because if I disconnect it, it's gonna fall apart, but... Yep. So now I think if I take this, yep, it stays open. Okay, so... I talked about being able to leave that behind because I think I just need 2 RGBs to press the buttons. I needed an inverter and a connector. Okay, so... We have a red. Let's put everything in here. I think I can disconnect this mess and start over a little bit. My goal is to take these ones out safely. But I should be able to take, let's see. Am I in trouble? Here, let's try the connector. So this opens that. And the inverted... Alright, this is just literally what I had a second ago. So I guess I need to... Okay, so... let's really squish it in here so it's not taking up so much space. I need to unplug this, so I need red and green to make blue. And now I can take this out without breaking... It still breaks. Okay, why does it break? Because... it breaks because this needs to receive blue to spit out the green. So when I take this out, this stops receiving blue, so it stops giving us green. So this can't work. Okay. And the blue in this room is all the way around the corner. The blue in this room requires this gate to be open, but I'm trying to close this gate to leave it behind. But I can't take this into that next room. Because my goal is just to make it into the next room. It's gonna have to be red. I need to be able to take red and take it into this room. So if I can get the inverter in here, we're golden. Because that'll hold the door open from this side. My problem right now is I just can't get through the door. And I can't shoot blue into this one because it's trying to make blue. Like it's everything backwards. Do. I don't know why I'm moving it slightly. What am I not laser math. Laser math. Okay, so red powers both of them because it's the only source of red. We only get blue by inverting it to make blue. I don't know if I've made a mistake that I have to go back and fix by maybe even redoing the whole puzzle or something. I think it's impossible to go back at this point. Like the puzzle's broken, so hopefully I don't need that, but I might. So the struggle is that it's easy to open this door, but only if I overcommit my resources, and I'm trying to specifically escape. Could I use an RGB converter, though? Not really. An RGB converter would take these two and make it a green beam, and I can't turn the green beam back into a blue beam to send it down here. Not in a way that doesn't involve committing to everything past that point. Just let me through. Okay, what am I not considering here? I think it's basic math. Like, probably fucked. I don't know. Okay, so no. I had the dumb thought of like, what if I connected this just directly, haha, and then I could hold it open and I could move this like beyond to the other side of the beam, and that would change blah 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 blah. Ah, drives me crazy when I'm just trying to move something slightly, but I keep accidentally connecting it to stuff. Boom. And now it's open, right? Except if I pick that up, we'll lose the blue beam and that'll close it. I don't need you anymore. Now I can do red, blue, green. Means I can disconnect that, which means I can disconnect this one. There we go. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so now I can disconnect that, which is a little scary to do at this point, but I should be safe to connect these directly. Go back and grab you and leave. Okay, yes. Yes. What? Ah. It's very disorienting sometimes when the way that you, if you try to pick up something that's on the other side of the barrier, it always makes sure to make you walk over to it and pick it up. You can't grab something across a barrier, but it throws me off so hard sometimes when my character loses control and runs and goes somewhere. Hi. That is the human woman.
Changing the world was never gonna be easy, Athena. I never got to go home. Trevor never got to tell me how he felt. We accepted these sacrifices because we had to. Do you think I wanted to say goodbye to my parents in a phone call? Do you think Trevor wanted to die alone on the floor of a dark server room? Faith in humanity isn't just blind optimism. It's an oath to serve something greater, and you will be held to that oath. When you make mistakes, when you're in pain, when people disappoint you, you don't get to give up. I'm sorry, but you don't get to be cynical. You hold on to your principles. You keep fighting, even if it hurts, so that one day there's a world where people are free.
That was a wild one, because almost all the voices in here are here to be mean to her and like tear her down. So that one was like, I was back and forth throughout it trying to gauge where it was going. I'm like, is this another one of them? Is this nice Alexandra Dren? What's going on? And yeah, it's like it wasn't the horrible, cynical, upsetting idea of what she thinks people think about her and so on, or what she thinks her failings are. Instead, it was just the cold truth, which is uplifting in its own way, of like, you don't get to give up, you don't get to think this ill of yourself, like you have to do the job to live up. This, like, it's the burden of expectation that is crushing her, but without the... Oop. Right, this is RGB. It's the burden of expectation that has been crushing her, but without the, like, horror funhouse mirror aspect. It was just still true. So it's the source of her fears.